And welcome back to EU Master Spring 2020. Schalke 04E Evolution are taking on K1ck Neosurf, Quickshot and K1ck Tiger, bringing you the action. And there is a lot at stake here, as we've mentioned already. K1ck somewhat have their future in their own hands, and they have to take down Schalke Evolution with Lurox in the jungle. They just took down Singularity. Let's see if they can do it again. We're turning into draft. K1ck Tiger, what would you like to see from either of these teams?
I still think K1ck, even though we talked about the potential to shut it down on the side of Schalke, should lean towards a carry-style performance from Shlatan. Specifically, the Lee Sin, I think, is going to be the obvious pickup. But even something like Trundle, we have seen people put on surprisingly decent carry performances. Yeah. I think it will be something they're comfortable handing over to Lurox, though.
Lurox did it just this evening. He did it earlier today, is what I'm trying to say. And it's still available. The Lee Sin is open as well. Is the Thresh, the Graves, and the Varus taken away, followed by the LeBlanc as well as the Syndra. So K1ck making it very clear they want to get rid of Sertuss' champion pool. Arguably setting up for an Azir pick. I think if like a K1ck were to go or something along those lines, that would make it super obvious. But that's what it feels like to me.
Yeah, I'm looking at it across the board as well. You can see kind of targeting some of the kind of standard champions on the other side. The Thresh as well being taken away. Maybe trying to deny the Aphelios Thresh lock on the other side from K1ck.
Yeah.
Something that Puki Style and Raxxo have brought in before, but Set has been left up is the thing I'm focused on now. Set and Azir being the big ones.
Also, actually, I just realized the Thresh and the Varus bans against K1ck, that was what K1ck just used to honestly destroy Singularity. Raxxo and Puki Style were absolutely over. I mean, predominantly Raxxo, I think his Thresh was really, really on point. So not going to get it this time around. It's going to be the Ornn lock-in. The Trundle is already gone, so Maokai up and available. The Sejuani, there's that Aphelios that you were talking about.
You could go for Aphelios Nautilus here. Maybe try something that Raxxo is also very comfortable on, can provide something similar to the Thresh, but doesn't have maybe the disengage properties that you would like from a Thresh pick.
And I think this game, more than many others that we've seen, is going to be a little bit more of those standard, power picks. The reason I think that, with so much on the line, with a lot of stakes in terms of making it to playoffs, representing two leagues that historically have done very well at EU Masters, coming out of the Ultra League as well as Prime League, Germany and Poland respectively, this is not the time to pull up that wacky pick that, yes, may be comfortable for you, but may cost your team a shot at playoffs. So I'm not surprised to see the Ornn, the Aphelios, the Maokai, and now Schalke are going to have a chance to lock in their first rotation and to close it out.
What I'd like from Schalke is probably Azir Set here. You can send Set down to the bot lane, which responds to a lot of what Raxxo likes to pick, which are these really heavy engage supports. It seems a shame to not have picked up the Set this late in the rotation, someone that has had such heavy presence throughout the European Masters.
There's very, very, very few games where Set has not been picked or banned. But also feel the tempo of the draft. It really has slowed down significantly. The teams are obviously feeling the pressure and starting to talk about each and every pick. With the Nautilus picked up now for SirNukesAlot, the Thresh is already removed. So for Aphelios, as far as some of those picks in the bottom lane, Tom Kench is something that we've seen paired with Aphelios a whole lot, and you would assume a support pick comes in now. So you've got your tops to tops and your duos to duos, and then we can start target banning one of those other roles.
Yeah, I mean, you have the Braum here, which also cancels out Ornn. I was going to say is probably the only not major engage support that Raxxo actually plays.
Yeah. I quite like that, actually. Into the Misfortune as well as the Ornn. Bullet Time as well as Call the Forge God. Definitely huge benefits there for K1ck Neosurf's composition, and now they turn their attention. Do they start picking away more of those mid lane bans, set themselves up for a comfortable matchup? There it is. This is only because they've got the LeBlanc and the Syndra already removed from the pool. And Schalke, where do they take their next bans?
Schalke could focus out some of the really good blind mid lane bans, because likely what's going to happen is they're going to give Shlatan that last pick to try counter Lurox's jungle pick. So my expectation here is you ban the K1ck, maybe the Azir as well, and from there you kind of see what gets locked. Interesting kind of takeaways here on the other side, though.
You have to ban Azir. I mean, for Schalke, like Kassadin, K1ck, LeBlanc, Syndra...
Matislaw's Zoe has been left up. I almost forgot who specifically was in the mid lane here. Matislaw has had the Zoe banned away against him so many times, but a champion that might be a little easier to respond to.
So what are you more afraid of? Are you more afraid of Matislaw, Zoe, or Azir? Schalke have made it very clear. Their answer is Zoe.
Yeah, I think the issue was, once you saw the Caston ban, you go, okay, I think they want Zoe here. I think that's the plan. Someone who can kind of deal with Zoe's mid-game burst and respond with it later. So, okay, you go give them the Azir. Still, K1ck are going to be quite happy with that.
I just feel there's a lot of scaling on the side of K1ck. They need to have a good early game. Early game was something that we talked about in our pregame. We were saying that Schalke and K1ck, Schalke earlier to the K1ck more historically have had stronger early game performances. And I want to see, I think for Shlatan, he needs to have an early game jungler that can kind of bridge the early to later stages. Lee Sin has now been denied for him. Lurox is locking that one into the jungle. And now Sertuss, we're going to find out what he wants to take mid. Unless he takes that Ornn mid, he is not. It's going to be the Akali. So fairly standard, fairly well-rounded Schalke composition. You've got solid front line, solid engage. You've got good flanking opportunities, please excuse me, as well as mobility and assassination potential. If Lee Sin or Akali get onto that Aphelios, say goodbye.
Yeah, Jarvan is kind of the second pick for Shlatan after the Lee Sin, so it wouldn't be the worst pickup for them here. Not exactly the counter they might have wanted to get into the jungle. I think maybe not expecting Lurox to be willing to go for something so aggressive, but good response from Schalke reading what K1ck wanted to bring.
Yeah, definitely the case. And the last pick is, as you mentioned, that Jarvan. So, I mean, fairly standard. I feel like for any viewers that are watching, thank you for joining us at EU Masters. If you watched the previous game between K1ck and Singularity, the breakneck pace of that game will be the polar opposite of what I expect this game.
See,
I think
it's funny you say that, because I genuinely think K1ck's plan is to use the heavy priority you're going to get from the Azir into the melee matchup of the Akali and try make 4-man dives happen bot lane. I think that'll be their opening strategy, because even though you've taken Shlatan off maybe the really hyper-aggressive pick at the Lee Sin, you can't take the aggression away from him. He still wants to make those plays.
Well, I think it's going to take a little bit more time to set up that type of play, and I can definitely buy into the strategy, but now we need to see whether or not K1ck can pull it off. As we've already alluded to, their destiny's in their own hands. If K1ck win this, they guarantee at least a tiebreaker for playoffs. And Mr. Tiger, I still think we're going to have a slower pace. The reason I think that, whenever you get into these really, really intense, high pressure, high stakes games, players at this level tend to slow it down a touch, calm things down, and play a little safer. Lurox already with the crying bee. That's not a great confidence sign, my man. Second game of the day, subbing in, for Gilius, but he was instrumental in their victory over the Movistar Riders just 2 games ago.
Yeah, I think it's worth talking about the kind of mental effect that has on someone. I understand my Irish accent gets heavier when I say mental, but don't worry about it. Basically, you're coming in as the saving grace of your team. You're being thrown in, and your team's already down a huge amount of the scoreline. You're going, you have to land every single game for your team here. A lot of pressure being put on Lurox, but so far he's responded well.
And also remember, he pulled it off, The only thing that'll make your accent sound stronger is if you were to say turkey tree. It's my favorite.
T's are okay. I'm just really slow at them, as it turns out.
It's my favorite thing to hear in a really thick Irish accent. Turkey tree in a turd.
You see, I have to explain, those accents don't really I exist.
I know they don't, but it's like, they
are great, I get that. You see, I had to explain to someone what a heavy Dublin accent sounded like the other day, and the only way I could describe it is that they'll ramble incoherently, and then they'll just use a single tone at the end of the sentence, and that'll be a laugh. So to basically give you an idea of what it is, it's more like, and that's MF and Nautilus in the bot lane.
I agree with that. And when you start stringing sentences together, it sounds a little bit sing-songy.
In its own way.
Let's not do that. We might scare some of our viewers away. Thank you for sticking with us during this exploration of accents here in the Esports.
Just to throw out that not all Irish accents sound that nice, as it turns out. Some of them sound just terrifying.
And everyone's allowed to have their own preference. Personal taste is the thing. Shlatan is making his way to the bottom lane. This is what you were talking about in the draft, K1ck Tiger. Obviously, it's very early for Matislaw to join the party, but he does have a teleport available if needed. True alcove gaming. Shlatan leaking for the flag and drag. The roots will land onto NukesAlot, and Shlatan's not going to be able to find it. Look in the body map, the mini-map, Lurox is nearby, and all of a sudden, this could turn hairy. 3v3 on the cards.
Yeah, but this is the early aggression I was talking about. Like, yes, it's a slower game than the last one because that one was so insane, but genuinely, these junglers are not giving an inch. They want to get into this game as soon as possible.
Yeah, they really do. And I do like the fact that Lurox kind of, I don't want to use the word reading, but he's in the right place at the right time for Shlatan. His lane was not pressured. Neon and NukesAlot able to back away soon enough. So Puki Style and Raxxo aren't able to pick up that kill. In the mid lane, Matislaw is shoving that wave in over and over and over into Sertuss. You can see him stuck underneath his tower. And Lurox may have an opportunity here if Matislaw continues to shove this next wave.
Yeah, relatively low on mana, has enough to escape with, but is using a lot of it for this push that you were just touching on, the one that we expected to see from the Azir. You see committing a lot of his mana to making sure that the Akali can't respond to a river play. You want to give that priority over to Shlatan.
Well, Scuttle Crab was just picked up there by Schalke and Lurox on the top half of the map. As one of those little Christmas presents from Ibo will spot out Lurox, and the sapling will be tossed and continues to chase. Ibo is going to continue to step backwards. Sleeping was looking for the knock-up and didn't find it. Shlatan stepping forward. Now there's no mana for Matislaw, but Shlatan will get the flash out of Sertuss. That is a huge bucket of win, trading nothing in the mid lane.
Very handy. So the TP can come in from Sertuss if the push was committed to, but Matislaw low on mana, just going to take back for back here in the mid lane. And as you said, while there's a lot of plays happening, it is still a little slower, a lot harder to make really aggressive plays work. And I think, as you said, being willing to play that bit more defensively early on.
Yeah, and also both of these team comps are happy with time, you know? They're happy to farm up to 1 and 2 items, especially on something like a Akali. You really wanted to get the Gunblade before she starts picking fights. Ibo, by the way, is using that sap magic in Twisted Advance to just great fashion, just dunking on Sleeping. It hasn't made a huge difference. Sleeping is actually out farming his lane opponent, so got about a full wave up over the Maokai. Mid lane, bang on even. Bot laners, bang on even. But I am going to say, young man, that in my experience, these high pressure games always slow down.
Throwing down the age card, I see.
I've got you, dude. It's the only thing none of you kids can beat me with. So... Well, look at Puki Style in the bottom lane. Pulls out that flamethrower and shoving it. But I think some credit to Neon and NukesAlot. They've been under a lot of pressure. They've been shoved in. They've been pushed backwards. But they have been able to secure a lot of waves. And Lurox, oh no! He was looking for the dragon. He manages to escape with his life. But he did lose his flash in the process. And K1ck, they get a Summoner Spell and a Drake.
Okay, yeah, if you can't make plays in the bot lane, at least use the priority you're getting there to secure some of these neutral objectives. Getting the dragon nice and early means you now have the option coming towards that 8-minute mark if you want to swap the lanes around. You can see Braum actually walking towards the mid lane. I still expect might be moving down towards bottom lane just because it's a little early for that Herald, but that's, I expect, going to be a very aggressive focus from K1ck afterwards. Yeah,
it definitely feels that way. Sertuss being flashless in the mid lane is also something that Shlatan can try to play around. So, you know, if Matislaw can set something up there, then go for a dive there. If you look at the minimap, Raxxo already moving towards that direction, starting to ward up the Scuttle Crab and the Northern River. And Shlatan's coming that way too. And if I look at the minimap, I was wanting to see if there's any other shenanigans. It's just NukesAlot also kind of roaming and placing some vision. So, supportive warding being put in place for that Azir Akali matchup.
Again, just K1ck because they're the ones who have that little bit of the front foot in terms of aggression. They're the ones who are able to secure the crab, get the wards down, and now it's going to be Schalke having to run in to territory that's really been covered quite well by K1ck. That's really the benefit if when you're going for these very aggressive junglers, you're the ones with those lanes that are able to push further forward. Yeah,
definitely. Puki Style took a huge chunk of damage from that double up from Neon. Matislaw's return to the mid lane. He's got himself a chapter that's quite forbidden. Built with a Cutlass for Sertuss, and obviously that wave is just playing around. That now that the first back has come in, Neon and NukesAlot feeling a little bit more comfortable. They've got 2 control wards, one behind the Dragon Pit, one in that bush at the South River, what they've just stepped over. And now they are the ones pushing up, and it's a lot of movement on the map right now. Champions kind of swapping and trading, and Neon and SirNukesAlot swapping to the mid lane. So let's see what play is happening as the rest of Schalke, they're making a very big ploy for the Rift Herald.
Yeah, they really want this. You can see literally everyone converging, not caring about what vision is in their way. As you noted, running straight through the mid lane as the bot lane here, but it's actually as K1ck had backed off, so it looks like they're going to be in prime spot to take this under very little contest. Shlatan still may be looking for the smite steal.
Okay, it was uncontested. K1ck have arrived, but they're too late to the party. Fashionably late, and they don't get the objective. Raxxo gets dunked on as a long-range dredge line knocks him up and is sniped. Sleeping from downtown. The Forge God was called, and he delivered Raxxo on a platter.
And I really like that as well. As soon as you saw the Braum shield go up facing forward, he goes, okay, I'm going to do a long-range Ornn ult. By the time I knock it forward, that shield will have come down. So you can watch that again. The big thing here is they are too late to the party. They have full vision of that. You have to give up the objective at this stage. But you see, as soon as that shield went up, in came the call of the Forge God, knocking him out as it went forward. Yeah,
really, really well played. Schalke now, just in the blink of an eye, have got 1,000 gold lead. They've also got themselves the Rift Herald, so any tower they want to make a play for over the next 4 minutes, correction, 5 minutes, will still have those turret plates to play for. And even though, yes, they've lost an Infernal Drake, it doesn't really matter. They're prime position to just accelerate the lead that they have built up for themselves.
Interestingly, Lee Sin is one of the more annoying junglers to have to pick up the Herald on, because of course it denies you your trinket wards, denies you your ability to jump forward. Gonna have to keep up control wards, which is generally the way you jump forward anyway as the Lee Sin, but early game can be quite annoying. But see now if he can find a lane to pop that in. Doesn't look like he has any lanes that are really aggressively pushing aside from bot lane, so maybe gonna clear top side, move down towards there, see if he can make a play along the way.
But then what is good about that for us as viewers is that there's going to be some time pressure for Lurox to try and jump and use that Rift Herald as quickly as is possible. Looking at him on the minimap, he's still clearing out his jungle. Do a quick temperature check on scoreboard and itemization. Sleeping on the Ornn, still doing an exceptional job up in the top lane. Plus 20 CS over Ibo's Maokai.
I will say, well, it's a rather boring matchup. I've always thought of it as somewhat Ornn favored, especially early on. You have a little bit of an easier time, especially with the W doing so much damage, percentage health-wise. Yeah,
definitely the case. And despite the fact Ibo's had some fun times, like looking for exchanges, you know, he's been bullied a little bit in that lane. Neon once again surviving another engage from Puki style. He was rooted by that Aphelios. Shlatan showed up, backed off, and now Lurox is there. That seems to be the order of the game. We're 10 minutes into this laning phase, and every time Shlatan tries to sort of make a play in the bottom lane, nothing comes of it, and then Lurox is there, you could argue a little late, but there's no fight, so therefore there's no problems.
Yeah, I think the big issue is that it's so telegraphed which side of the map you want to play around. You want to go bot lane because Akali's so hard to make a play on, even with her reduced mobility when they nerfed her ult quite some time ago now. Still with the E and the Shroud, so difficult to actually kill the Akali. You really want to be headed bot lane, but fact is, as you said, they're just maintaining solid vision control of the area, maintaining control over an area that has been under a lot of pressure.
Yeah, definitely the case. And Schalke will pick up their first dragon of the game. It is the Ocean. It means we're going to get ourselves a Windy Rift. As now K1ck, they picked up the first Drake of the game, was the Infernal. No huge items picked up yet. No really big tickets. You know, you still got, you know, a Stinger sitting for Matislaw, BF swords for Neon and Puki style, respectively. But it's a 1,500 gold lead for Schalke. No fear. A win here guarantees them that shot in the playoffs. And that is what they're looking to secure. Guarantees them that first place seed. Lurox coming to play in this bottom lane, and he hasn't used that Rift Herald yet. You have to feel it's coming soon because it's about to time out. Raxxo's going to throw down the Fissure. SirNukesAlot steps forward. Teleport coming out from K1ck. Here comes Matislaw. The slide, the glide, the stopwatch blocks the divide. All of a sudden, the bullet time is sent packing. The flash kick is interrupted. Lurox is going down. Kicker on the board of the first kill of the fight. Call of the Forge God goes out, and so does Nature's Grasp. That's another one for K1ck, but now Ibo is starting to retreat. Sertuss and Neon can look to put the hurt down on K1ck as Sertuss is waiting to find a target. He'll chuck out the shurikens. Aphelios throws down a turret, and that prevents the engage. K1ck get 2 kills.
Well played there from an engage that was somewhat forced in by Schalke there towards the middle of it, but it got quite scrappy. But you could see that it was actually Shlatan again making some of the key plays through that with the flag and drag, with the ultimate, locking those kills in for K1ck nice and quickly. You can see it already started off quite messy from the Nautilus engage, and with so many TPs falling, Matislaw comes in, but the ult is dodged. Watching Shlatan here though, he gets the rest of the team to back off. Lurox jumps in, goes for the kick, but the flash goes for a flash on Lurox as well, so it looks a little confusing. There's actually flash and flash again, which has Lee moving around so much. And Shlatan focuses on where he ends up, picks him off, and the rest of the team zoned away by the tank in Ivo.
It's so difficult to follow exactly the specifics during the team fight, but the biggest thing for me is that K1ck get 2 kills. They come out of that one in a good position, and now, where was the Rift Herald summoned? I haven't seen it. I didn't notice if it was bot lane or not, but I wanted to call out that Rift Herald was picked up by Lurox ages and ages ago. And I don't believe it was used.
I think it might have timed out because of that death.
Wow, unbelievable. Like, if that actually timed out, that's a little disappointing to me. I really would have liked to have seen Lurox and the Schalke squad using it. Just got confirmation from our production team and our observers. Thank you very much. It timed out. That could have been the tool that you could have thrown mid lane for Sertuss. Could have helped sleeping in the top lane. Nevertheless, 15 minutes in, we're a bang on even game. 400 gold. It's nothing to really talk about. But the Gunblade has been picked up for Sertuss's Akali, and we've got ourselves another Rift Herald bout on the cards.
Gold's still close to dead even though, so a team fight could well happen. No TPs from the top laners, so you won't have it being quite as engage heavy maybe. But Matislaw here, getting jumped by 2 members.
Okay, let's see how this plays out. This is definitely not an uncontested. Drake sleeping, no teleport available, nor is Ibo. Both of them finally making a move from the bottom lane. SirNukesAlot looking to nuke something quite a lot. No target available yet. So he's nuking a little.
Potentially in range.
And there we go. K1ck back away. They concede the Herald that they started. Now, Lurox, I'd like to see you use this one. After Schalke and Nulfia committed 5 members at 8 or 9 minutes of gameplay, all the way up to the Rift, they brute forced their way in. That was what got the first kill of the game. Then that objective timed out. But Schalke are in a position now where they can play around either their MF, their Sertuss, they're Akali, and let's see where Lurox is going.
Now, one thing I do want to point out, from more of a going back into the history of some of these teams, if you actually look at Sertuss and the history of EU Masters, the big mid laner to have come out of EU Masters of old was Leader. Going back to the final, back in the Prime League, Sertuss actually brought out the Akali into Leader, a man known for playing Assassins, and destroyed their final game with it. So he's not looking to just follow the Leader in terms of purely storyline from EU Masters. He's looking to surpass it.
Well, it'll mean getting to playoffs first, and the next dragon is spawning. We've got ourselves another fight on the cards. K1ck Tiger, this is where things are going to start to escalate. One item starting to be completed. Full team starting to group up, but it looks like Schalke a little late to this one. The dredge line will connect onto Ibo, and K1ck will secure it. It's Matislaw that gets the final hit. Lurox is inside the pit, and look at the fight. The Emperor's Divide goes out. Defensive movements from K1ck, but they are scattered, they are splattered, and they are getting blattered by Schalke Nulfia. Matislaw's running for his life. Sertuss will get tagged by a couple of Sand Soldiers. The Rift Herald is summoned inside. K1ck get the dragon, but they lose 3. They lose the first tower of the game, and I think they're going to lose another.
It's going to be another as well. No one is here to defend it. They had to go back after that very aggressive jump forward from Schalke. This is the kind of team fighting we saw from them back in the Prime League. They're now finally bringing it out onto the EU Masters stage when they really need to towards the end of this group.
Man, 3,000 gold lead from just this play, K1ck.
From there, by the way, that was a missed smite from Lurox. It was actually picked up by the Azir. But continuing the play, this is where the team fight got very messy very quickly. You can see how Lurox and Sertuss both get into the back line of K1ck, and that's what starts to rout them. While they're distracted trying to pick up NukesAlot, their back line is completely unprotected.
Yeah, definitely. And the Rift Herald thrown down in the mid lane just accelerates that push even further. So, Schalke Nulfia, wow, 4,000 gold, Is that right? Yeah, 4,000 gold.
Yes.
Man, why do I doubt myself? In literally just a blink of an eye, but they got a third tower while we're in the replay. Sleeping 2-0 to 100% kill participation. K1ck, man, this is scary. Okay, if K1ck lose this game, and that's what it's looking like right now, they will need Singularity to beat the Movistar Riders to force a tiebreaker. That is how dire the situation is. And Singularity are currently 0-5 in the group. Lurox is picking a fight with Shlatan. Hey, that was an interesting kick.
Well,
knockout.
Yeah. Look, you made it away. It was all planned. I appreciate the aggression from Lurox, though, looking for those picks. You can see that on the other side, K1ck had been trying to do that and forced out SirNukesAlot flash previously. However, we can have a quick look at that. The way it works...
Oh, that is... Actually, you know what? No, I am actually going to call this one out. That was pretty BM from the observers. I appreciate it. I think it is funny as hell. But come on, observers.
The one thing I will say is, honestly, in my recollection, it was actually worse. That was actually a much better play on the replay. So maybe some credit to the observers that they weren't trying to be mean.
No, it was obviously some timing of the flag and drag. I don't know, maybe it's an observer timing thing, who knows. But nevertheless, it was pretty funny. And as it stands, Schalke are just in absolute control. Look at the itemization. 2 full items for Sleeping's Ornn. Infinity Edge picked up for Neon. Gunblade as well as that Blasting Wand and the book for Sertuss in the mid lane. And it's just everything that Schalke want, they have already secured. And they are in absolute control of this mid game.
Yeah, when you see what they do with it, you can see they should probably be trying to establish more aggressive vision control around this Baron specifically, because right now, K1ck, while there is very good vision against them, still have plenty of wards in the Baron. They'll know it's not started, so you can see Raxxo is going to kind of start this trend, start pushing forward, removing some of the vision that K1ck are using.
Keep your eyes on the wards in and around the map. I think K1ck in the previous game had exceptional vision against Singularity. It helps when every single skirmish goes your way, so you've got sort of unrelenting access to the enemy base. But this time round, the flash engage, that goes onto Neon. He's going to get locked down. The Nature's Grasp buys time. NukesAlot trying to stop them. The bullet time comes out and K1ck started this fight. K1ck might lose this fight. Puki style blows up Sertuss. He's got the Chakram's Prime looking for a target. And Schalke, no fear. I thought they did it. I thought they won it. But K1ck find a way to go 3 for 1.
And that's putting the Puki and Puki style, because that was disgusting to look at. Because, genuinely, you had the Akali jump in. That is an assassin. And you just turn around, one-shot the woman. That's just rude.
The Puke in Puki style. Please never say that again, my friend. Let's turn our attention to Lurox. Baron's he's going to steal it. He's going to steal it. I feel it in my bones. I feel it in my bones. Sonic Wave. It's connected onto Baron. He's locked down in place. The resonating strike and the smite. Lurox and Schalke steal the Baron from K1ck. I thought K1ck were right back in it, but they were not. The evolution has arrived, and it is Lurox in the jungle.
Oh, those old bones still can see a play coming. Managed to find it again. This is once again the Akali getting destroyed.
Unbelievable. Dredgeline will buy some time, and the puke is on as Sertuss gets styled on.
Oh dear, you're seeing why now that Aphelios is an AD carry that is honestly underappreciated in European Masters but can come out so aggressively. But we gotta see the steal again. In it comes with the Q.
Man, that resonating strike damage as well as the smite. Unbelievable. Super quickly as well, I've just got a note from our production team. After the Baron play, there was 1 or 2 connection-related issues, which is why you see members of K1ck disconnecting. The players have reconnected for competitive integrity reasons. The game is played in advance. 10-ish minutes is in the future. The players have reconnected, and the connection issues have been worked through for now. But K1ck are currently 4,000 gold down. if there is something to praise, Puki style on
You're
Aphelios.
struggling now, aren't you?
Hurricane plus Infinity Edge completed 5, 1, and 3. K1ck have got 3 dragons already secured. So if they can get the soul, that is one way that K1ck can look to win the game. But for the time being, it is Schalke 04E in absolute control, and by no means would I think anything of they are the favorites right now.
And this isn't the first time we've seen Puki style pop off on this Aphelios either. Previously, though, it was against Singularity. So we thought, coming up against a team like this, we talked about how Schalke should be a much more difficult opponent, or certainly at least based on previous performances, but still finding these plays, still finding these real quick turnarounds.
Yeah.
Very impressed.
Definitely the case. And just to clarify, I'm hearing that a number of members in chat are saying pre-recorded. It's not pre-recorded. The game is still being played. It is live. Production team are just running on a delayed feed as SirNukesAlot will be nuked down. The initiation was started by Schalke in the tower, and Lurox, he just got obliterated. The Braum shield goes up, and Raxxo does his duty. Moonlight Vigil is fired by Puki style. They turn their attention. Neon is down. Follows Sertuss as Lurox lands a Sonic Wave onto Raxxo, decides not to chase it. Ibo and the rest of K1ck back away. They get a 1-for-2. K1ck are not done fighting yet, but they are in a very difficult situation, and if they do not keep Puki Styles Aphelios alive, I think they do not stand a chance at winning this game.
Yeah, I think the next thing to focus is 3 minutes. You have that Dragon Soul potentially coming up for K1ck. That might be the way to turn it around. Unfortunately for them, of course, it's Cloud Soul, not necessarily their ideal. Would have preferred one of the other 3, but it is at least something that might give you a bit more aggressive playmaking potential.
Yeah, definitely the case. And 8 kills to 10, 4,000 gold the difference. Let's look a little bit forward. 2.5 minutes to the Cloud Drake. Baron. Let's start again. 2 minutes 40 seconds to Cloud. That's the soul for K1ck. 2 minutes 20 to Baron. And both of these objectives are going to be crucial, honestly, for both teams. Like, can you even start to predict who's going to pick up what?
I mean, generally, I would say the soul is worth more than the Baron. I think even in this case, even though it's Cloud Soul, it's a fine trade for K1ck, especially at the stage of the game they're at, that Schalke has been so good at aggressing on them, has such good control of the area. It might be worth just going for that trade and seeing if you can hold them. My one potential issue is that if you give the Baron over on the other side, you have wave clear as the Azir and the Aphelios. Schalke will definitely just be committing to the Baron to avoid that.
Yeah. And of course, I think when you look at it that way, K1ck are going to have a stronger, well, everything. Azir plus Aphelios versus Elder or Baron, they're going to shred through it. Nash's Tooth completed. Puki style has got just that Hex Drinker for now. Molten Edge upgrade for Neon. That is very, very important as we move into these last fights. And let's look at Vision. Schalke 04E, they have committed their Vision around that Baron buff for now, and only sleeping in the bottom lane, holding onto their tower. By the way, 26 minutes in, K1ck have not taken a single tower. So that is how, like, dominant on the Rift Schalke have been, but K1ck have just kind of outplayed a lot of the most recent team fights.
I think that is worth noting, though, that if K1ck managed to find a fight, that's a lot of gold to quickly turn around by forcing some of these towers. So that gold lead could swing if K1ck can find a fight.
Yeah, that seems to be the case for now. And at the same time, Sertuss is pushing the top lane.
There's one thing you can do with the Akali. You can send her off in a split push, knowing she could take the 1v1 against anyone except apparently the Aphelios. And genuinely, that's something you can do, kind of go for that 1-3-1 style that we've seen in EU Masters of old. Has been a lot less prominent in this current EU Masters, especially with how many ways there are to force engages, like the Jarvan, the Lee Sin, the Ornns, the Maokais. It can be quite difficult to split too many members, as the engage could just be forced with a numbers advantage.
And look at the benefits the Sapling Toss is going to give you. Yes, Ibo had a little bit of a difficult time in lane, but his team fights have been impeccable. The Sapling Tosses giving a lot of information. Despite the fact that Sleeping was pushing the bottom wave and trying to play some wards around the Elder Drake, K1ck step forward. The Sun Disc is placed, and the objective is spawning. 5 seconds to the soul. Teleport is up for Sertuss. Celtic Tiger, we are setting ourselves up for another big fight.
Maybe Lurox is just looking for the steal, but no, here comes the TP. It's going to be a full fight.
It is going to be indeed. Sertuss is coming in from behind. The dredge line finds no target. The Nature's Grasp is buying time. Moonlight Vigil locks everyone from Schalke down. The Emperor's Divide splits everyone up and the Braum shield blocks them out. The Cloud resets and Shlatan smites it down. The Soul is secured by K1ck, but here comes Sertuss. He's chasing for one. Matislaw's in the killing spree. He turns his attention with the Sand Soldiers. Neon is firing and shooting and running and diving. Neon is doing so much work for Schalke, but Puki Style stays alive. The flamethrower did so much work. It's a 2 for 2, but the soul goes to K1ck.
Yeah, and that's the big thing. Finally picking up that Cloud Soul, and more importantly, putting that Elder Dragon in on that timer. Genuinely more important than the Cloud Soul at this stage of the game, as that will be something that can immediately turn the entire game in either team's favor, based on how close some of these fights are. Both AD carries shredding through people.
Yeah, and nobody wants to pick a fight there with Puki Style's Aphelios. He's going to pick up a second tower on the way out. K1ck are still down in gold, but they get the soul.
But look at the way this fight plays. You're looking for the steal the entire time as Lurox, and you're being completely zoned out on the other side. So you go for the fight, it resets as you noted, and manage to pick up the smite. But in the meantime, you have both the AD carries on either side of this fight able to take out anyone who jumps on them. You can see you have the Akali once again going for Puki Style and not being able to actually assassinate this Aphelios, who turns around and shreds everyone around him.
I was trying to watch again. It felt like Sertuss just didn't pick a target. I really don't get enough time to highlight, focus an individual player, but he dashed into the pit, kind of ran around inside the shot looking for someone to jump on. No target was presented, so now K1ck, they turn their attention to the Baron. They pop the blast cone. They don't have particularly deep vision, but we're just going to rinse, repeat, and we're going to set ourselves up for another objective fight. And honestly, every objective fight this game has gone the way of the Polish representatives.
Yeah, you see Puki Style, though, has been able to use the Crescendum to throw down kind of turrets on top of the Azir. That's really good zoning potential, meaning Schalke can't join easily.
There's the Flash Nature's Grasp as well. Ibo is going to, honestly be tickled by that bullet time. It doesn't matter. Gets a secondary twisted advance, and that's already a kill onto sleeping. Sertuss gets locked into the Cataclysm and instantly escapes. The rest of K1ck start to back away. The Ultra Liga is not going down without a fight. Schalke from the Prime League, they still have a gold advantage, and now they have some time. Do they risk going into the Baron pits?
This is dangerous. All of the vision is in favor of K1ck. There's a lot of control wards down as well, so a lot of this is completely blind for Schalke. That's why they're willing to send the Akali, one of their more mobile members, in first. Someone who can shroud and try to save some time, maybe saved by Lurox if someone shows up.
Yeah, and let's see what happens. More of Malmortius picked up by Puki Style. Rapid fire cannon for Neon. 2.5 items for Matislaw. Got the needlessly large rod on the Forbidden Chapters. Puki Style, level 15 to 16. He fancies a shot. With that more, he thinks he can win. No flash, no heal. I mean, Sertuss is afraid. Like, Sertuss legitimately ran away.
I'd find it hard to argue with it. It's happened every single fight so far. I definitely think it's in favor of this Aphelios.
Schalke no Fear have not had the better team fights today. A loss here means there is a possibility of a 3-way tie. If K1ck win and Singularity win, wait, let me double check. K1ck and Movistar. Actually, if K1ck and Movistar win, it's a 3-way tie for first. That is the most likely scenario. Oh my word, there might be another 3-way tie for first. Right, I'm going to focus on this game before I try to do some math in my head. Celtic Tiger and K1ck. How do they get themselves this Baron? Because that's what they want.
You're going to go back in, get those control wards you're sitting on down, sweep the area. You can see they're doing it now, removing any chance they have of entering. You were talking about how Aphelios is very good at zoning. Honestly, you've seen that just there. Can chase away an Akali very easily. Azir, also extremely good at zoning. You can throw the soldiers forward. Waiting to see if they're given the opportunity now to zone everyone out. You see Sertuss is split off from the fight. This is okay as an Akali though, because once the fight kicks off, you can just go ahead and jump in. But see K1ck playing it relatively tentatively, trying to zone off both sides at once.
Hold your breath, ladies and gentlemen, we're in for a fight. Baron has been started, Dredgeline goes in, Sertuss is in the pit, but Baron's picked up by K1ck. Call of the Forge God knocks up 3, Raxxo's late with the shield, but the bullet time is completely blocked. Emperor's Divide from Matislaw throws in Schalke Nulfia and K1ck. That's a triple, and the 4th is secured by Matislaw. They've done it. K1ck will have won the game off that Baron fight.
And you see Ibo TPing up just to chase away Lurox to avoid that Lee Sin being able to attempt a defense here. It's going to be K1ck pushing in for the end.
Unbelievable, weird, wonderful, entertaining and confusing game. There are too many words to describe it, K1ck. But this means K1ck will even Schalke's scoreline at 4 wins and 2 losses and keep their playoff dreams alive. Ultraliga Poland and K1ck, congratulations on the win.
Ooh. And this time, changing up what we'd seen in most of the previous wins, where it had been very Shlatan focused. You got this big jungle carry. Instead, your AD carry is picking up all the slack, actually being finished by a mid lane play. That Aphelios, or that Azir rather, coming in, taking out the MF who'd shredded most of the fights before, on top of the Braum blocking a lot of that damage. Really impressively played by K1ck in that final team fight, and honestly, throughout the game by Puki style.
Okay, right, my producers have just told me off. They had updated my script software, but I did not check it before speaking. With that win, we are guaranteed one of 2 different tiebreaker scenarios. If Singularity win the next game, then K1ck and Schalke will both advance to the quarterfinals and will play a tiebreaker game tonight to determine seeds, 1st or 2nd. Now, the odds of Singularity winning are very, very low. They have not looked particularly good. So, if Movistar win the next game, then K1ck, Movistar and Schalke will be in a 3-way tie for 1st. That tie will be played on Sunday in a 2-game single elimination bracket with seeding determined by total victory time. The 2 teams with the slowest victory time will face off first, and the winner will obviously play the team who has the fastest victory. Much the same way that Rogue, LDLC, and Giants will be facing off on Sunday. So I think we've got ourselves another 3-way tie.
Most likely, but we still do have a game to see. We still have Singularity who can go in and just ruin all the hopes of the Spanish for no reason other than that they can.
Unbelievable. I'm so thankful that I get to cast you Masters, because some of the games I had have been ridiculous. K1ck, thank you for keeping me company during the bonkers game that we've just watched. We've got one more between Movistar Riders and Singularity. Let's figure out which of those tiebreaker scenarios are going to happen. We'll be back with an interview with Schalke Nulfia's top laner sleeping after the break.
Magic. 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 Magic.
Vous comprenez maintenant pourquoi j'ai créé la Magic? En un clip, vous devenez Magic.
La monture avec ces 2 clips pour 149 €.
C'est Magic.
Dispositif médical.
This is my creed. The boots that make me faster. The items that make me stronger. The potions that I drink. I get the best to be more powerful, so my champion rises to the top. But all this leveling up means nothing if I don't level up myself. It's the healthy potions I drink in real life that make me stronger. Because you can only rule the game when you realize you are your most important champion. To play like a pro, eat like a pro.
Time for a true display of skill.
My axe is ready. Witness true strength.
A gift from me to you. Ooh, ooh.
Another soul lost.
Death by 1,000 cuts.
Welcome back to the Masters. I'm Quickshot, joined by sleeping top laner for Schalke 04E. Thank you so much for joining me. Let's start by talking about what happened in that game.
That's a really good question, actually. I think their draft was like kind of good. Like, it was really smart, the J4 pick especially, because our comp heavily relied on MF consistently doing something. But every fight where MF had no flash, it was like really hard to play the game, right? And
Right.
obviously in the end, unless we play really good and Akali is strong, like that's our only way to win. Like, if Akali is behind, then we kind of lose.
Let's talk a little bit about how it felt like you guys had map control. You had more towers, you had better vision, you were pushing lanes, but k1ck's team fights, like they seem to catch you by surprise. Is that something to do with the fact that you subbed in, Lurox in place of Gilius? I had this thought in the back of my mind that a substitution the same day is going to have some impact on communication and team fights.
I don't think necessarily that having either of the junglers makes a huge difference in stuff like this. It's just a comp difference. I think theirs was
Got it.
a lot easier to execute, right? So that's it.
Okay. Now, Schalke have still done fairly well in the grand scheme of things. 4 wins, 2 losses. Now your fate is a little bit out of your hands, but also a little bit in your hands. When we look at the schedule, next up, if Singularity beat Movistar Riders, I'll have the pleasure of shoutcasting a tiebreaker game between Schalke and K1ck. You'll both qualify. Do you think Singularity can beat Movistar today?
I mean,
that tells me everything I need to know.
It's looking a bit rough, but I really hope so, because obviously it's easier and better for us. So I hope so. I believe in that.
If you were to give any advice to Singularity to beat the Riders, what advice would you give them?
I think K1ck's kind of focal point is their mid laner. He's always playing kind of scaling mages, I guess, like Azir, K1ck, Zoe. So I think targeting him in draft would be my tip. He's really good on these.
Now let's assume Singularity lose this game. You guys are then going to be in a 3-way tie, and you're going to play on Sunday. How does Schalke and the team and the players feel around the high pressure scenario of playing in a tiebreaker game, do or die, single elim, etc.? How would that be for you?
I think we will do fine. We just need to figure out how to approach these games, and I'm pretty sure we'll make it. We'll make it. I'm quite positive on this. I believe in us.
Sleeping, it has been a pleasure watching and casting your games. Just before we head off, is there anything you'd like to say to some of your fans? Obviously, this is the English broadcast. So you don't normally see the Prime League representatives. So, this is your moment to give a shout out.
I just want to thank our fans, because they're always amazing, and of course shout out to my boys from my Discord. They're always amazing. They make the chat a pleasure to watch.
Oh, that is awesome. Sleeping, thank you so much for the interview. It's been a pleasure. I guess you'll be cheering for Singularity in the next game. We'll be back as they take on Movistar Riders right after our Warner Music Song of the Day, Joel Corey's Lonely.